Hello, Naka environmental scientist and environmental scientists around the world. This is Mr. S, and today we're talking about fisheries. So the objectives for today are to describe the causes of and problems related to overfishing. And the essential knowledge is that overfishing has led to the extreme scarcity of some fish species, which can lessen biodiversity in aquatic systems and harm people who depend on fishing for food and commerce. So a fishery is commercially harvestable population of fish within a particular ecological region. All right? So any commercial population of fish in a region. In Asia and Africa, fish comprise almost all of consumed animal protein. And there has been a rapid increase in farmed fish production. It's the largest growing food meat industry in the world. And there's a decrease in wild fish caught in the world's ocean for that reason. But they are fishing for the feed for the farmed fish from the ocean. So again, this is an example of tragedy of the commons. Because the ocean is a common area, and there's often not an incentive to protect or replenish fish stocks because fish in the ocean do not belong to any nation. So it's caused a precipitous decline because they're international waters, and it's very difficult to regulate the ocean. So there's been a decline of a fish population by 90% or more, and 30% of the world's fisheries have collapsed. All right, so this is a huge issue that we're facing with overfishing. And you can see these are the different fish species that have been declining at a massive scale globally. And then remember, we have the economic impact. So from overfishing, what happened is, as one example, in 1975 to 1985, the ground fish in New England had been caught at such a huge amount that the values also went down and the profits went down because there was a surplus of fish, so the cost went down, and then the amount of fish that were able to be caught went so far down. And it affected the whole economy of fishing in the Northeast to where almost so many of them went out of business. So this is when no incentives or penalties to prevent overfishing. During this time, it ruined the whole economy as well. And you can just see the amount of fish stocks that have been overfished have increased over the years, and it's kind of grown. You see these massive modern harvesting methods, which are factory ships, which can catch, process, and freeze at sea without returning for months. And one of the most ecologically damaging things are trawling drag nets and long lines, where they basically just drag these huge nets all the way along the ocean floor, and it causes a huge amount of ecological devastation because unintended species like dolphins, whales, turtles get caught in the nets, and also the habitats get destroyed in that environment. And it also stirs up ocean sediment, which causes turbidity, destroys coral reef structure. And this decreases the biodiversity by killing non-target species and removing the coral reef habitat. So a lot of this is done for the fish food for the fish farming, which is why fish farming often has a greater ecological damage than fishing, because the fish can eat all the random fish that they're being fed, and then you get a higher quality fish. And then this is a long line operation where there's just huge fish hooks and fish lines that are just catching. They have 3,000 hooks, and they it's maybe a little hard to see, but 300,000 sea turtles get caught, sea birds, millions of sharks, up to 50% can be sharks. So it basically just catches everything that it goes by. And interferes with sonar and spotter planes. So we already talked about this a little bit, but it causes a destruction of seafloor habitat when they drag the nets. There's also bycatch, so younger species as well as non-target species. So an example of that is there were turtles getting caught in a lot of fish nets, but they created a way to exclude the turtles. So they created these holes where only the shrimp could go through and the smaller fish. And then because the turtles were heavier, they were able to push open this gate. So there have been some innovations to make it better. Now, the trophic cascade effect is where as we deplete a large predatory fish, like you see here, we have the salmon, the tuna, which are massively overfished, and they get depleted. What happens is that it does affect the whole ecosystem, okay? So first, when they get killed out, all of the pressure goes to these forage fish, because that's what the marine animals and seabirds now, the only thing they have to eat, right? And so as we deplete that, these go down in number, which causes the zooplankton to increase, which is what the forage fish eat, because they've been eaten so much by the seabirds and marine mammals. And then the things that the zooplankton eat go down because they've grown in population. So phytoplankton, which are microscopic plants of the ocean and give us a lot of the oxygen in the planet, dramatically decrease. And then as a result, these whales and other major members of the ecosystem at the top of the ecosystem suffer from this. Okay, so it trickles down the whole ecosystem, and these are the, as you know, all of the energy comes in through these photosynthetic organisms, and they're extremely important to keep the whole ecosystem balanced. And yeah, so this is just a list of the Monterey Bay aquariums. They make cards like this that you can fold in your wallet for when you're shopping. And you can so you can judge which fish are really bad for the environment and that are just getting overfished and dying. So if you love to eat seafood, you can still do so with these guides that give you a responsible option. All right, that's it. Make sure to answer the practice questions and see you next time.